Greetings, everyone, and welcome. It is December the 17th, and today is a lot of good news for Ukraine. I know that we are having some troubles on different frontline areas, and we will be talking about that maybe tomorrow on a live. Make sure you're subscribed and notified with the bell on so you can be there for that. And thank you for all of the new people joining our channel and our efforts. We deeply appreciate it. Yes, today is a good day for Ukraine. If you saw the thumbnail, you see the images of Zelenskyy, Trump, Medvedev, the General Kirillov. Maybe you haven't heard of him. Maybe you have. I will explain it all to you in just a moment. Viktor Orban and Vladimir Putin. All of these images today trying to trigger into our minds. These are the key players on this day. And today is good news for Ukraine. Let's jump right into it. I want to talk first about the news that's going everywhere. Lieutenant General of the Russian Armed Forces, Nuclear and Biological Weapons Department, Igor Kirillov, was blown up in Moscow. Who did it? Okay, so most likely the SBU, the Ukrainian Security Services, did it, and I will tell you why. I can't confirm that 100%. Regardless of who did it, this guy was an evil, evil butcher against Ukraine and an enemy of the world. I'll show you that in just a moment. And it was just yesterday that the SBU informed publicly about the activity. I just got off the phone with Ukraine, and I wanted to confirm this. This was put out yesterday, 24 hours before General Kirillov, Lieutenant General Kirillov, was eliminated today. I will translate this for you. Up at the top, it says Служба безпеки України, which actually translates Ukrainian security services. And then that word in front of his face says Pidozra. And what does that translate to? It translates to suspicion. So I called Ukraine. I said, what does this mean? And they told me, Greg, when we have an enemy of the state, or there is a criminal, or someone is under suspicion from the SBU or the security services, they will put out this alert, and they will put the person's face. They will say that they are under suspicion for committing these particular crimes against Ukraine. So that was 24 hours ago. And isn't it interesting that 24 hours later, this general was eliminated? He is responsible for the Russians' massive use of banned chemical weapons against the defense forces on the eastern and southern fronts of Ukraine. A lot of the illegal thermobaric weapons. This is this guy's mind. This is his work. If I talk more about him after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Kirillov said, this is the source, ladies and gentlemen, of the biolabs that are located in Ukraine. It was not some other American source or European source. This was the clown that was spreading the false narrative about biolabs and bioweapons in Ukraine. Once again, I remind you that Russian propaganda works years and years and years and decades in advance before it shows its ugly face. This gentleman was the source of it. In all of my runnings on the front lines of Ukraine and throughout Ukraine for the past now soon to be 27 years, I have never seen a biolab anywhere inside Ukraine. It's a fact. Kirillov blamed the Pentagon. Remember this? When the Novokakhovka Dam was blown up on the southern front there on the Dnipro River, and it's such a huge ecological disaster. You can go back on some of my videos. I have shown the results of that, the drought, the lack of water. It's really barren down there, to be quite honest. Kirillov was the one that blamed the Pentagon of the United States for blowing up the Novokakhovka hydroelectric power station dam to cause an outbreak of disease and disaster. This is the clown that was doing that. And Igor Kirillov is considered one of the developers of the TOS-2, the Sochka. It's the flamethrower system, excuse me, I was getting tongue-tied there, that uses projectiles with a thermobaric munition head on it to launch at the enemy soldiers, which is, of course, our guys, the Ukrainians. So this is who this is. And interesting, today, Dmitry Medvedev in a security service meeting. Remember yesterday, Vladimir Putin, Belousov, they were talking at the defense end of the year meetings. Today, Medvedev talking in Russia at a security services meeting. Check this out.
Today we're having a meeting about defense industry contracts for next year, but before we start, I have some sad news. Our colleague and friend Igor Anatolievich Kirillov died in a terrorist attack. He was a dedicated military commander, loyal to his duty and oath. We all knew him well. He was an
So there you have it. He goes on to talk about more. Well, there will have to be a retaliation. There will have to be a response for the terrorist work inside Moscow. The bottom line is this is good news for Ukraine. And not only Ukraine, this is good news for the world. This was an evil man who is no longer fighting against Ukraine and fighting against the world. Now, I also have encouraged each of you to be patient when we are talking about Donald Trump, the incoming administration, January 20th, 25, and how will that look for Ukraine? We are getting some positive thoughts and feelings that there could be more support for Ukraine than was previously projected, but we do not know that. In fact, President Zelensky speaks about that directly today in some meetings. I'm going to play that video clip for you in just a second. And don't listen to me. Don't listen to other YouTubers. Don't listen to the news media. Just when it's talking about president to president, you need to listen to Vladimir Zelensky. I remind you that he was here. He was with Yermak and others of the team, and they met with Donald Trump there in New York City. There was also a brief meeting in Paris. And guys, nobody knows what was ultimately said, but I remind you that both Zelensky and Yermak came back in both situations and said, we have good feelings about this. Today, Zelensky talking about the need for patience in regard to Donald Trump. And here's something else cool. I told you yesterday, I encouraged you to be patient. There is no way, there's not a snowball's chance in you know where that Ukraine will work with Viktor Orban in any shape, matter, or form. This guy is an irrelevant clown to the Ukrainian government and to those leaders there. Ukrainians do not like Viktor Orban, period. I can tell you that Ukrainians like Hungarian people. Many Hungarians have been helping Ukraine during this war. When I was in Washington, D.C. with some meetings last year, I met a Hungarian delegation that has been responsible for massive civilian aid to Ukraine. Hungarians are caring about Ukraine, but this clown here is just a stooge and a puppet of Vladimir Putin. And Trump, he has a relationship with Orban. Orban has spoken for Trump or at the meetings there in the United States, in Texas years ago. But we do not know where that relationship stands right now. We have to wait and see. And this is what Zelensky's saying. Check this out.
I really hope we'll have closer ties after the new US president's inauguration. We'll meet, and only then can I tell you what parts of this plan Trump supports, what he might not, or what he might want to add. I truly believe he'll strengthen our plan, adding power to the relationship between Ukraine. This strong alliance is all we need. We don't need countries like Hungary, for instance. I mean the leadership, not the people. People support Ukrainians, but leaders like Orban, well, that won't fly. I won't allow him or others like him. We're strong. We've proven it on the battlefield throughout Putin's aggression. No one else in Europe has such a modern example. Orban doesn't have an army like ours. How's he gonna pressure Putin? It's a joke, really. Let him keep his smile.
Don't you just love it? It's a joke. Let him keep his smile. Let him keep that. We will not work with that clown at all. That's all you need to hear, folks. Don't listen to anything else in the news. The Orban plan. The Orban plan. What a joke. It's not going to happen. Now you've heard it from Vladimir Zelensky. Also in regard to Donald Trump, he says, we've got to be patient. He's not the president until January 20th. And he said, Zelensky, I truly believe he's going to strengthen our position. Who is better to fight against Putin and fight against this war than us and our army? We've proven that we're strong. We've proven that we can do it. And then, of course, the joke he makes about Orban's army. What a joke. That is the reality of where we're at today. And my friends, this is good news. First of all, the good news is Orban, get out of here. The good news is I'm feeling positive. I strongly believe, quoting Zelensky, that Trump's going to support us even more. Time will tell. We shall see. But that is directly out of President Zelensky's own mouth today. Now, last thing I want to talk about. On the right is Podolyak. advisor to the office of president. He works with Yermak. He works with others there. He is telling the world, he's telling the media to stop it. Stop trying to solve and win this war in the media. It's not going to happen. There is no need to discuss it, no need to write about it. We are not even close to negotiations. The sides, being Russia and Ukraine, are so far apart, it's not even reality. So stop it. Let's continue to fight and let's continue to stand for what is right. Here is Podolyak talking today.
There's no way to negotiate today. Let's not discuss this in the media again, please. You can talk all you want, but the sides' positions are worlds apart. Ukraine says, look, we want to negotiate. We didn't want this war, to put it mildly. But you see, it's nonsense. What are we negotiating about? International law? Let's discuss territorial integrity, please. Or security guarantees like a collective security architecture. Where Ukraine's in an alliance, please. Or other security guarantee formats that'll protect not just Ukraine, but all small Eastern European countries from potential Russian expansion in the third or fourth stage.
And there you have it, folks. Podolyak telling you straight, negotiate. We're not even close. We want different things. We're on different sides. We're not against negotiations, but we are, in my words, we're light years apart from where we need to be. So let's be patient. Let's fight this war. Let's continue. Let's get stronger. Let's do what we need to do, because if we don't, there is a third and fourth stage coming. Small European countries. We've already seen the division and the destruction and the disruption, the fall of Syria. We've seen the actions in Moldova, Georgia, Romania, Armenia, Abkhazia. It will continue, folks. And the next thing you know, we're talking about Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia. It cannot happen. Listen to these guys there in Kyiv. Vladimir Zelenskyy, Podolyak, Yermak. Today is a good day for Ukraine. Not every day is a good day, but today is a good day. Thank you for being here. Be looking for the live upcoming in the next day or so. Also working on some other lives coming up with some other YouTube partners that we have. And we're going to deep dive into the front lines here coming up. You guys be blessed. Have a great day, and we'll be back soon.